Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Dave.
And join us every Thursday for a new episode of Two Player Bros, a podcast about two guys who play way too many video games. Join me and Dave as we talk about the latest in Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and VR news, previews, and reviews. We have it all, and we play it all.
And join us every other week for Post Game, where we play through and dive deep into our favorite modern classics and new releases.
That's Two Player Bros, available every Thursday wherever you get your podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Attention, culture consumers. Join me, the Queen of Queries, Sarah O'Connor, and my band of nerdy knights.
Colleen McMillan.
Flo Siegel.
And Anders Drew.
On Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms, especially that Star Wars galaxy far, far away. Listen each week as we examine the stories that mean so much to us. Bohemian Geek Studies is available wherever you get your podcasts and is proudly part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Forgotten Cinema is now looking for a new co-host to join myself, Mike Field, because Mike Butler's a bitch. Croupier Revenge is coming. This is my town. You know,
Which is, I would love to do a James Bond podcast.
I'll do it right now. Cancel the other podcast.
You son of a... What about all these women? These are all women, beautiful women. Where are the regular women? And he's like, it's Los Angeles.
Is this the movie that's going to end the show? Is going to end the podcast? Because this movie, like, I cannot tell people to watch this movie. Like, I will not. This movie is not good.
You get the hell off this podcast.
Let's take it to the limit one more time.
Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast, Season 9, The Season of Summer. Each episode this season, we are highlighting a film that had a coveted summer release date, but for a variety of reasons was forgotten or straight up ignored by audiences. Whether it was because it was pitted against a tentpole film or was given a limited release run to fill out a studio's schedule. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of over 100 episodes for your listening pleasure.
This is it. The end. We've ended our themed season.
Oh, I thought you were ending the podcast.
Well,
This
spoiler
is it.
alert.
This is my 2-week notice.
2 weeks. I'm out now. Yeah, so that's it. We finished Forgotten Summer. It is now July? August? It's now August. Sorry. I know we talk often that we are ahead of the game here, 10 weeks ahead when we record. So yeah, it's kind of trying to figure out. So it's August. It's first week of August, right?
Yeah, summer's starting for us now, but it's ending
as
for
we
us
record
here.
Yeah, exactly.
And Forgotten Horror will be in the middle of the summer.
I know that, which is always weird. We record our Forgotten Horror episodes like in August,
Like
really,
the beginning of August.
Yeah, really strange. Well, that's how we roll here at Forgotten Cinema Studios. Oh, it's a studio now. All right, so let's get it off. We are doing the movie Titan AE. And before I get into the facts, let me tell you what it's about. Okay. Titan AE takes place in the distant future after Earth has been obliterated by a mysterious alien race known as the Dredge. Kale is a human teenager who has been given a mysterious map by his father, leading him on an unforgettable journey. Yeah,
I guess. That's a very broad strokes.
It is pretty broad strokes. I mean, I actually cut off the first sentence of the synopsis because it dealt with how the movie was made, which I want to get into later, so I wasn't going to bother with that now. So Titan AE has a runtime of 94 minutes. It's rated PG. Production budget of $75 million. It was released on June 16th, 2000, the aught. Opening weekend, it did $9.3 million, domestic 22.7, and then worldwide 36.7. So obviously a big flop, big flopperino,
Big flop.
as they say in the biz. Look it up. They say flopperino. Production company is Fox Animation Studios and David Kirshner Productions, distributed by 20th Century Fox. And we'll kind of get into this. So there's some behind the scenes stuff that we get into for this. So as I said, it came out on the 16th of June, the year 2000. It also went up against Shaft, Samuel L. Jackson Shaft, Boys and Girls, and Fantasia 2000. I would assume that Fantasia 2000 is probably its
competition
main competition. And then the following week, the 23rd of June, you had Me, Myself, and Irene and Chicken Run, which is very good. And again, it's competition. And then I wanted to find another movie that would compete against it in terms of animation for kids. And that is on the 30th. You had The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Now, I know it's not a very good film, but before it came out, people probably wanted to see it and might have taken attention away from this film.
Sure.
And then the week before, June 9th, you had Gone in 60 Seconds. Not a lot of stuff coming out in the month of June in terms of not how they do it now, where it's all jam packed with, 3 or 4 films.
I mean, you had a Jim Carrey, you had Nicolas Cage summer movie there.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you were also leading up until the July 4th opening weekend, which I don't even know what came out. I should have looked. All right, so this movie is directed by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. Now, Don Bluth is obviously very well known in animation circles. He's done The Secret of Nim, An American Tale, and Anastasia. He's also done Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Thumbelina. You probably have seen a Don Bluth film in your life. Gary Goldman was the other director. As I said before, he has done Rockadoodle, which I believe Bluth did as well, and A Troll in Central Park. Story by, you got a lot of story and screenplay credits here, everyone. Story by Hans Bauer and Randall McCormick. Bauer has done Anaconda, Komodo, and The Flock. And McCormick has done Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Ooh, good movie. Good.
It's not terrible, but you're right. It's not great. Scorpion King 2, Rise of a Warrior. So I guess Speed 2 now looks pretty good, huh?
Scorpion King 2
The
was
Rise
2000?
of a Warrior. No, this is, I don't know if we did it in 2000. This is
This is just his thing.
Yeah,
Never mind. All right.
Screenplay was written by Ben Edlund, John August, and Joss Whedon. They all had a turn. Edlund is actually the creator of the Tick series. So he created the Tick comic. He's worked on both series, even the one in the 90s and the one that's now, is it still out or they canceled it?
They canceled it.
Okay.
I mean, you can still watch it.
He's also worked on Supernatural, the TV show, Angel, and Gotham. All TV shows. John August has done Go, which was an episode we did in season 5. He also did Charlie's Angels, Dark Shadows, and Big Fish. Joss Whedon, obviously you probably know who Joss Whedon is. He actually was nominated for an Oscar for writing for Toy Story, and he's done Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show, Firefly TV show, Serenity the movie, and probably nothing else for the rest of his career. Composer is Graham Revel, Tim Semenek. Revel has done Gotham TV show, Deadcom, The Crush, and From Dusk Till Dawn, and Simonek has done the TV show Happy Days, some episodes there, and he did Hard Target, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. He's more of a conductor now, so he has a lot of credits that are up to date and more close to 2021, but it's more of just conducting the orchestra that is, playing the composed music. Right. Edited by 3 people again, Bob Bender, Paul Martin Smith, and Fiona Taylor. Bender has done Anastasia, Arc, and Through the Mobius Strip. Paul Martin Smith has done Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I don't know if you've heard of that, Butler.
I don't know what that movie is.
He has also done the 2005 version of Venom and London Has Fallen. Fiona Taylor has done Anastasia and American Tale and All Dogs Go to Heaven. I think she has done primarily Bluth films. Bluth produced this. Goldman produced this as well. And obviously, I said David Kirshner. Kirshner has done all the Child's Play movies. I think he's credited with creating the doll of Chucky as well.
Really?
Yes. He's also done Hocus Pocus and Frailty. I'm not sure if he's doing Hocus Pocus 2, which I know was just announced. Goldman has been trying to do, and Don Bluth has been trying to do the Dragon's Lair the movie. But,
right.
That's still in pre-production. So.
I'm really surprised they have never made that yet.
I don't know if people really, there's great respect for Bluth. I just don't know if we've, you know what I mean? Like, he's obviously a much older man. People don't really tend to revere older people in our generation. So,
right. But I'm surprised no one's taken that IP and just kind of went, oh, sure, go ahead.
Oh, I hear you. So we got Matt. These are all voice talents. So Matt Damon is the voice talent of Kale. Yeah. Now I should have prefaced this. I have done credits here that are all for voice talent credits for these people.
Oh, cool. All right.
So, because I just didn't know some of these people are Academy Award winners. Some of these people are Academy Award nominees, but we are not going to reference that. The only person that does not have any voice credits at all is Bill Pullman. So anyways, Matt Damon as Kale. He is Spirit in Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. Ponyo, he played when they dubbed it over for the English version. And obviously he's he's in Stillwater. That's coming out. Apologies. Bill Pullman has done ID4, Spaceballs, and While You Were Sleeping. He plays Corso. Drew Barrymore is Akima. She was a voice talent in Beverly Hills Chihuahua. And she's also that's her only other voice talent role. She's also in E.T. and Scream. John Leguizamo as Goon. He's from Ice Age. Fish and Chips, the movie, and Walking with Dinosaurs. The movie's title is Walking with Dinosaurs 3D. I don't get that, but anyways. Nathan Lane as Preed. He's obviously from The Lion King. Stuart Little and Astro Boy. Janeane Garofalo as Stith from Kiki's Delivery Service. That's another when they dubbed it over the English. Ratatouille and The Wild. And then we have a couple people here. Tone Loc as Tech. He's in Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, Bebe's Kids, and Whispers in Elephant's Tail. Alex D. Linz as Young Kale. He's the voice of young Tarzan in Tarzan, and he's also in Home Alone 3. Ron Perlman as Sam Tucker. He's worked on Battle for Terra, Tangled, and Go Fish. He's one of the bad guys in Tangled, the twins. Jim Brewer as the cook. He is in Bling and Zookeeper. And Roger Jackson as First Alien. Why do I have Roger Jackson in here, Mike? What do you think voice talent he did?
I don't know.
He is the voice of Scream, the guy who calls on the phone for Scream.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So his credit is just First Alien, which I don't know. Whatever alien shows up and talks. Yeah. All right. So you picked this movie.
Right.
And I had seen this movie, and I know I wasn't a huge fan of it, and I kind of know why I'm not a huge fan of it. But there is a lot of behind the scenes stuff with this film.
I noticed that. Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to kick this off. Where do you want to go?
Well, first of all, I found your July movies.
Okay, go ahead.
The Kid came out early July, so that's gonna kill your family audience as well. Also, Scary Movie. Also, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Also, X-Men the week after July 4th. Also, What Lies Beneath. Also, Nutty Professor too.
Yeah, but those are. I'm talking about. Yeah, I get that, but like Nutty Professor's a kid probably would relate to kids, right? Is that PG? PG-13.
That's PG-13.
Yeah.
Kids were seeing that. There's a Thomas the Tank Engine movie that also came out.
Hey, all right.
Something that always struck me about this movie, and one of the reasons I wanted to put it on the list is I'd only seen it the one time as well.
Okay.
Is that I remember the hype for this movie being that it was a new kind of movie. It wasn't just for kids. It wasn't just for adults. It was an animated movie that was supposed to be this family action movie that was supposed to be like this new kind of summer kind of blockbuster that could happen.
Gotcha.
You weren't just a kids movie. You weren't just a movie for adults. And I remember that's how they packaged it. That's how they marketed it. That's how the articles like Entertainment Weekly were saying it was. And obviously it was a huge commercial failure because I don't think you can do a movie like that. I don't think that's possible to please everyone in the way that they were trying to in Titan AE.
Right. And we're going to get to this probably in our, I know we've been doing
Just
bonus
movie,
episodes in conjunction with this, and we're going to talk about films that are geared towards adults and children. But yes, I think when you're trying to do that, I think it's very difficult to do. But when you're doing a movie that's for kids and you want to have elements in there that appeal to parents, I mean, I think that has to be natural. That has to be organic within your storytelling.
Right.
So I think if you're focusing on that, that's kind of probably where you would falter. Now, we talk how Don Bluth and Gary Goldman were directors, but they were not the original director. So Art Vitello was fired after 18 months and $30 million into production. So Bluth and Goldman agreed to come on, and they only had 19 months to finish this movie, which is for an animated film is extremely tight, to the point where they had to, in addition to this happening, Fox Animation Studios started laying off people because they were making cutbacks.
Right.
So some scenes in this movie are outsourced to other studios, other animation studios. So for instance, in the scene where which I do not understand this plot point, he just decides to start taking the ship and joyriding, and they have the Wake Angel scenes where the Wake Angels are following him. That was done by Reality Check Studios. And then the Genesis scene, which is the scene when at the end when the Titan starts spinning around in a crazy earth, that was done by Blue Sky Studios, which is obviously from Connecticut. And what ended up happening was that after this movie, because poor sales, because it just kind of
it was the second flop in a row,
right?
After Anastasia,
right? And Fox Animation Studios shut down all these. They basically went and third partied the rest of their movies, like Ice Age. And what was the other movie they did? Robots and other films to Blue Sky Studios.
Right.
But fast forward, Blue Sky Studios just shut down too. So
Disney don't want it.
That's right.
Fun fact. Disney's got their own animation studios. I don't know if you heard about them, but they're Walt Disney and Pixar. They're a pretty big deal.
This movie also was the last straw for Fox Studio had Bill Mechanic at the time because Rupert Murdoch was upset that Mechanic greenlit Fight Club,
which is ridiculous.
Exactly, because Murdoch hated Fight Club, and he was mad that Mechanic, said yes, let's go, we'll do it, and obviously it became a hit, so he really couldn't get rid of him. Then this came out, and it was a big flop, and it was his reason. It was basically his excuse to be like, take a hike, you can't do this anymore. So this.
You think Fight Club made it Rupert Murdoch mad because it was anti-rich people?
Yeah, well, boo-hoo,
right?
I guess it's tough for me to come down on this movie. I guess my whole point of this diatribe of information is that it's tough for me to come down hard on this film just because I really can't lay it at the feet of anybody if you only had a certain amount of time to finish it and was already in trouble.
It just seems ridiculous how quick they were able to put this movie together. Well, when I read that fact,
when you watch the film, it doesn't seem ridiculous when what you see on screen. Because I am not a huge fan of the script in this movie. I'm not a huge fan of the dialogue.
It needed more. Well, yeah, because it's rushed. But I mean, it's still impressive they were able to put it out. But yes,
Yeah.
it needed more polish. It needed more time.
There were lines in the movie, and there were like scenes and dialogue scenes where it was just like Kale is so obvious in his refusal of his of his journey, of his fate, of his destiny to be to take this, like they call it the writer's journey, when the main character refuses the journey in the beginning and then he accepts it and he becomes the hero of the story.
Right.
He is so obvious in that refusal that it's almost like they've got the writer's journey on the screen, on the wall as they're writing, like, okay. And then we just go here and what's next? And he's going to say this. And he's going to say, I don't want to do this. And
then the girl gets captured and then he's like, oh, well, maybe she really did care.
Yeah. I get it. These have to be in films, these moments, these are how you interact with audiences. These are sometimes how stories are told. You know, you can also make a case for rules were made to be broken, but regardless of that, it's your job to kind of hide them better. And I don't think, and maybe because there's 3 people working on the script and maybe even 5, there's probably uncredited rewrites. There's probably changes being made. They're trying to just get it done. You know, I can understand that. And I can't really just be too critical of that, but it's definitely something that when I was watching the movie, it was just kind of like, I'm not really a huge fan of this.
The underlying story is good and interesting for like an animated film. But yes, the dialogue and the characters and the character arcs are all pretty bad, and including not just Kale, but Caleb as well.
You talking about Corso?
Corso, I don't know why I call him Caleb, but Corso as well.
Yeah,
I think that his story, his heel turn, is really just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and it doesn't come about naturally. And then his turn again at the end, is also just kind of just like
at this point you've had
stuck on.
Right, at this point you've had like 5 or 6 examples of just lazy plot points and plot driven dialogue, and that it's almost like, of course he's gonna help. Go ahead, kid. Of course he's gonna be okay.
Yeah, as soon as you see him on the ropes, it's like, all right, he's coming back to help people,
right,
or help them.
And just the reveal of Corso being bad, like
it's
you are
super
openly
lazy.
yelling in
your own ship with the door open.
Yeah,
look who I found.
there. Yeah, so dumb. The other thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, and I know it was like the big reason for this movie, was the mix of animation styles. I did not like it.
I have differing notes as the movie goes on. Like, I like this, I don't like this. The thing that I said in my notes later on was it felt a lot like Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. I don't know if you've watched that.
I do not watch that.
It's really good. I definitely recommend it. But that's one TV show where it's all different, little stories and little animation houses doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously this is one cohesive movie. But it really does feel like they're trying things out in every scene. Like the ice scene looks great when the
ice scene does look good.
But it's way different than the scene, like you said, in the nebula with the Wake Angels. It's way different than the ships taking off from Earth. And it's way different from the dredge battle later on. Nothing really flows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like an interesting choice. But I don't know if that works to its advantage or its disadvantage, because I think it takes you out of the movie.
I think if you're going to be aggressive and you're going to be ambitious in that style, that probably hampering your production team with a time limit in terms of how to get it done, and a limited availability of funds and people, and then you're cutting their legs off and you're not letting them see the vision. I wonder if the vision of combining the 2 animation styles was probably something far greater than what we saw on screen, but Fox Animation Studios didn't give them the chance.
Right.
And honestly, I'm a little surprised because Don Bluth is not known for that leading up to this point.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cohesive kind of. Yeah.
He's all hand drawn. He's not, you're asking him to do something different, which I'm curious if that was something that he struggled with, or Goldman and him struggled with,
or if it's something that they wanted to do. I mean, they threw out everything that came before. So like, except for maybe the scripts.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the mix. I didn't think it worked. It took me out of the movie. And also, can we talk about how every time they show the main dredge guy, that I just think I'm watching ID4? Like, I just think I'm watching Independence Day, and like that same one shot of the alien.
Take the little dude inside the big dude, but make him electrical.
Yeah. And I know that they offer up an explanation as to why the dredge are attacking the humans, which is what Akima says, but I don't buy that. I don't buy her reason. Like, I don't know why the Dredge is attacking the Earth and human race.
Oh, see, that's one of the things I've always really liked is that reason the Dredge are attacking humanity.
That's just something Akima tosses out. That's not.
But you also get that in the narration as well. Yeah, no, there's no exploration of that. And I didn't remember the movie ending with the Dredge all being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty sure they pretty much opened this movie for sequels and the Dredge were still out there.
Well, I do have a note that they left the fate of Corso and Preed up in the air because there was an idea that the story would carry on. There's actually 3 prequel novels.
I saw that. Yeah.
So there's 3 prequel novels that were written by Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Moesta. Titan AE's Kale story, Titan AE Akima story, and Titan AE's Sam story, which is Corso, right? That's his first name.
I believe so, yeah.
And that just goes into the explanation of, I think with Kale, it tells you what happened to him after he left Earth. With Akima, I believe it talks about the drifter colonies that, Kale is apparently racist against drifters that you don't really know why. And then
I feel like he was brought up around all the aliens that were racist against humans.
Yeah.
So he's kind of also got his own bad view of his own people.
Right. So Akima's story is more about growing up in drifter colonies with the human race. And Sam's story deals with them hiding Titan, the ship in the ice, which... Okay, that's great. It's a novel, so I'm not going to take the movie to task for this, but how'd you forget where it was?
True.
But that's fine. So yeah, I definitely think there are fascinating tales you could tell within this story. And I would be okay if they revisited this. I just think the story needs to be better than this movie.
It needs to be touched up. It needed more work, and it didn't get the work it deserved. I mean, this could have been a really ambitious project. It was an ambitious project. I'm not saying it wasn't, but this was something ambitious and interesting that they should have taken more time with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that cutting off the heels of your first director and then throwing away $30 million, obviously at that point, you're just kind of done with the project.
Right. You get it done, get it out.
I'm wondering how bad that original project was shaping out to be.
I don't know. I mean, the guy that was the director, I think it was like his first or second directed movie. I don't think he's done anything since. I think he's more somebody who's worked within animation.
Right.
I think he's actually worked on the same movies that Bluth and Goldman worked on. So they probably came in and helped out because it was his buddy and they just took over. But
hey man, they're firing me. You want to come out and help like the good old days? I couldn't do a bit of fun like a chew. This is not, I don't think this is an animated movie for your first time. No matter how long you've been in the business, I think this needs someone like Bluth. This needs somebody like Goldman. This needs somebody who has experience.
I think this needs somebody with a steady hand and somebody who has a clear vision and saying like, this is what we're going to do, because this movie is put together as if it's just like, let's get it done. Like you say,
yeah,
let's put it together. Like I also am not a fan of the music video moments where we
I really like that super early 2000s.
I don't like it at all. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I love the fact that we're going to hide. Here's a plot point. We're going to hide in, this is the Wake Angel scene. We're going to hide in this cloud. This is a good place to hide. Yeah. Take it for a joyride. I mean, but now you've exposed yourself into open space.
Were they hiding? I just thought they were on their way to
they were hiding in this cloud. I don't know. I don't know.
The joyriding scene was dope. I like the soundtrack. The soundtrack itself, I was like, this soundtrack kind of slaps. I liked it.
Okay.
But I think that's also something. I don't think that music is meant for kids. I mean, not that I'm like, you can't listen to rock music back then, because that's the music I used to listen to. But I think there's a lot of stuff in this movie that is not interesting to kids. But there's a lot of stuff in this movie that's too cartoony for adults.
Like, this is also a movie that's probably geared towards young boys, an animated film geared towards young boys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Say that. I don't think that's a recipe for success. You know what I mean?
No, you got to have stuff for, girls as well.
Well, it should just be universal.
Yeah.
I think when you
you got Akima. She's a strong female character, but she doesn't get a lot to do.
I mean, the action. I'm talking about the music, the action, the space stuff, all that. Like, that's generally, I mean, it just seems like it's conceived for young boys, and they don't care. They didn't bother to show up or something like that. I don't know.
I think you market this movie like it's for adults.
I don't. Yeah, that's a mistake.
And adults are not coming to an animated movie.
No, not
at
for
least
them.
Not in the year 2000. Maybe
not
now.
Not unless it's anime. Not unless it's an IP anime.
Yeah.
That's like, that's something that's more adult based. More adult animation is obviously more violent, more sexual, stuff like that. That's what adult anime. That's what's going to get adults to animation. Not something like this. This needed to go either really dark, or Like I remember, you know what's funny is I remember watching, I don't know if anyone remembers out there. Obviously I was a young boy back in the early 80s, used to watch G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And then G.I. Joe had a movie, and like in the movie Duke dies. And it was just like, oh my God, like nobody ever died in G.I. Joe. And it felt like I was watching something that was for older people. And it was just like, it was a little foreign to me watching it, you know, just kind of like how it's so realistic. And
right.
So even then I was just kind of like, I don't know if I was like, oh, I like this. I don't know if I liked that. Like the just watching things that I always knew as a child. And now I think I still have the G.I. Joe on VHS, but it's just something that felt very weird to me. He comes back anyways too, which is so lame, but you know, you killed him.
It's like they killed Optimus in one of the 80s.
Yeah, he's a robot. He's a machine. He's not a person.
But I don't know if darker is the way to go, because you look at a movie that came out not long after this, which is the Final Fantasy movie with Alec Baldwin.
But that animation,
that sucked.
But that animation wasn't. See,
I get the animation style was completely different. It was grown up. It was real people. I was like, oh man, you could just replace actors with these digital creatures.
Yeah.
But that movie wasn't good because it was too dark. It was too serious. It's like I watched it going, this is not. It's not like Final Fantasy. There's no action, but it's also not fun.
But I guess maybe give Final Fantasy kudos for making that choice. Like, I don't think here, I think they're trying to toe it like we talked about when we opened this.
Oh, for sure.
Between adults and kids, they're trying to toe that line on both sides. And that is definitely a recipe for failure. It's either go all in for adults or go all in for kids. I mean, like I can excuse the weak dialogue and the weak story, the plot points in an animated film that's for kids, because I understand the audience, even though I have made the argument on this podcast before that Pixar does it so well that you really shouldn't excuse it anymore. But you know, I'll excuse it. But if it's for adults, then it's got to be written it's got to be written better for adults.
Right. No, you've got to have more in there. You've got to explain yourself. You can't just cut away to different things.
Right.
Like there's the scene when they're in Titan and Stith just appears after the fight with Corso, and Stith is already like buddy with them. It's like there's, as far as they knew, these guys were the bad guys or Corso's the bad guys. Stith has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And then she's like all in, and I'm like, there should be at least one moment where Stith's like, hey, I'm here, guys.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah.
And like, you don't get any of these moments.
No, there's no development of any of the supporting characters. I could not stand Goon. I could care less for Goon.
I liked Goon.
No, I don't like Goon.
But here's the thing about Goon. Goon is way too far into kid type characters.
Goon's supposed to be super smart, right?
Yeah. Super eccentric.
Super smart. But he can't figure out the
device he made.
Yeah, the thing. And then Kale comes in like, oh, it's just this. And like, there's a lot of stuff in this movie where Kale's like, we're just going to do this and we're going to do this and it's done. Like he's, for instance, when we meet Kale, he is slicing up space junk. That is his job.
Well, when we meet Kale as a child, he's building his own robot.
Okay, fine. But when we meet Kale as an adult, he's slicing space junk.
Which means giving a human a job.
Okay, fine. So, but you don't show me like he's still building stuff. You don't show me that he still keeps that
tinkering. And
so then all of a sudden he shows up to Titan and he's figured out how to you know what, they're made of pure energy, the dredge. I'm gonna make the couplers be able to enhance the, like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Like
See, I thought the perfect example of how you could fix that, and I thought about it even like when the scene happened, when the gravity engine goes off in his station that he's on. He fixes it.
Yeah.
I was like, why isn't the guy who was just fixing that robot fixing it to show me how smart he is?
Yeah.
Why am we getting Jim Brewer as the
grasshopper,
smacking it with a wrench?
Yeah. And like, why are all the aliens exaggerated versions of animals and insects from Earth?
Lazy.
Yeah.
It's just lazy.
Like, and like, I mean, I guess I'm supposed to just accept it. I know it's the year 3028 or whatever. Why can we explain the walrus that lives with everybody on Earth?
So you get like Tone Loc playing tech, and his character's not overly exaggerated, but yeah, where did he come from?
Yeah.
As soon as that started, I'm like, wait, is he like a human experiment gone wrong? Is he an alien?
Yeah.
So that's something you could have easily thrown into that opening narration.
Yeah.
But the opening narration makes it seem like humanity hasn't even left Earth yet.
Yeah.
But clearly they had.
Yes. I think you need to Well, I mean, we always hate saying it's voiceovers, but you need something to explain the world to us.
Yeah.
You just do.
See, I don't mind movies like this that are going to be like, we're going to throw you into our universe real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And you get those kind of the title cards, even if it's just music and you just get like words that fade in and fade out. Don't make it go on for too long, but 2 or 3 paragraphs or not paragraphs, 2 or 3 sentences that explain we've been to the stars. We've already made contact. But our greatest invention is still yet to be, like something like that.
Or you start off with Kale and the space junkyard, and he has for some reason forgotten all about what has happened, and you discover all that stuff as he discovers it, where he is really from Earth, and where there is the savior. You can build another planet.
Because like Akima doesn't remember,
right? Like you don't you can't just start off with okay, you've introduced everything, but you really haven't introduced the entire universe. Plop him right down in the universe and make him somebody who is down on his luck and is a loser, and he's not special, and he's not going to hold the key, which he holds the key in his hand, like any of that stuff.
Right.
And he doesn't know it, so that when he discovers it, we discover it. And, because like when Corso shows up, you kind of know he's going to turn heel. Like everything is so transparent in this movie. And it's just very tough for me to root for anybody in this. Like I don't like Kale in the beginning. I'm just like, God, you're so overtly annoying and such a jerk. It's like
he's just a dick at the beginning, like right from the start. I do like the opening though. I like that the movie starts kind of with a bang. It moves quick. You don't get a slow opening. It's like here's humanity and here's the aliens are going to blow everything up. I thought that moved kind of quick. Kind of reminded me of the beginning of the 2009 Star Trek movie.
Okay, yeah.
Where it kind of starts with this big action sequence that makes you excited to watch.
That's a really good opening.
No, I know. That's a fantastic opening.
That opening got Chris Hemsworth Thor.
Yes. That opening is one of the best film openings in any like action or sci-fi movie.
Absolutely.
But I think that this movie, like that's what it was attempting. And I think in some parts it succeeds because I was like, oh, wow, okay, we're getting into it right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think you could have used another minute or two to start it.
You definitely can start a movie like that. But
yeah.
You need to be better starting a movie like that.
Don't have the walrus start them.
Yeah.
You had to explain the one alien that you see when there's no other aliens.
Something. Give me something. Did you notice the Death Star in the movie?
I did. It's in the Drifter Colony. The Drifter Colony.
Yep.
I was looking for other ships when I was, that's the Death Star. I'm looking around for other ships. I go, oh, you should have hidden like a ton of ships. That should all be made of.
I wonder if they have. Well, they probably don't. They probably have to have permission. You talk about hide all the Star Wars ships.
Yeah, hide a whole bunch of different, like, the Enterprise, it's part of the Enterprise, or that's this ship. I thought that would have been cool.
Did you think Kale's dad looked like he should have been from Johnny Quest?
Yes, I thought he looked way too safari-y. When he first appeared, I'm like, that's not a scientist. He's hunting lions.
And speaking of Stith, I was so annoyed when they were using the guns on Titan and she's just screaming all the time.
Her character is very, very annoying.
And her and Goon are very stupid because they don't realize when he hits Goon and like
that
we're gonna follow him out. Don't you realize that these guys are up to no good? Like
at that point, it should be okay because there's no way Stith couldn't take them both out.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
They're leaving. Oh, they want to get there first. We're gonna find them. It's like clearly these are the bad guys. You're working for the bad guys.
And I know this note is a direct reference to The Expanse, but when they leave the ship,
oh yes,
and they go into the other, so they're caught in the ship and it's cracking, and Corso grabs Kale and takes a fire extinguisher and they shoot off into the void of space and shoot into the next
next ship.
It's like there's no repercussions from being in the vacuum of space.
Well, he said exhale on the way out.
Yeah, but yes, and Kale is under observation because he's been shot 2 times. That's part of the reason why. So it's just like, and I know from The Expanse, there's a scene in The Expanse where they do that, and they're just like, she gets messed up, and it's only like what, 10 seconds maybe?
Well, no, for her it's like 20.
Is it
seconds.
20? Okay,
yeah, she's like, because she's got to open the door.
Yeah,
but yeah, your blood vessels expand in your eyes and you start to freeze.
Yeah.
But yeah, there should be a scene where they're both in the med bay getting some checkup.
Yeah.
But I did like that it was realistic. I'm like, well, you wouldn't die. That is true. You ain't gonna like it, but you're not gonna be dead right away.
Right. How about the lack of ease that the Dredge are able to be killed?
The Dredge,
and they don't have hyperspeed. They can't chase after. At some point when they escape into the ship. I think that's that moment. And
Right.
Akima hyper loops or hyper speeds or whatever, warp speeds out. They're just kind of like, meow. Like you don't have that capability. You're pure energy.
They probably don't know where they're going.
You're pure energy. The whole universe is made of energy. I mean, right, you can't figure out a way.
Probably can't track them at warp. That's an old Star Trek thing.
Well, this ain't Star Trek.
But I thought the dredge are cool in that they're energy and that they're a technology based, alien, which is interesting. It's different. But why are you killing them with energy weapons then? How are they not disappearing and reappearing? They seem to just come and go at will.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the need for Kale to open up the doors with his two fingers.
Oh, I didn't get that at all. Like, what the heck was that? Like, I don't understand that.
I don't get why two fingers is different than one finger at your polar. Like,
There's no explanation.
it's like, oh, it's two different polarities. It's like, that's not how electricity works.
No, it's no.
And then the use, like, if they're all energy beings, why did Dredge need to get on a ship? Why aren't Dredge the ship? Why don't they just become the ship?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't pilot it like a human pilots. And this is a cartoon, so you kind of excuse that. But it's also a grown-up movie.
Yeah. No,
So
I hear ya.
those kind of plot holes, I'm just like I want to not wonder about that, but it's also not necessarily just for kids.
I think we have to get over, both of us watching these movies, we have to get over the fact that we're and I do it all the time. I did it probably 20 minutes ago, making excuses for the movie when it's for children. Because again, I'm going to go back. I mean, like, maybe we have to get over that and understand that, you're still you're still storytelling.
Right.
You're still telling a story, regardless if it's for children or adults. You still have to tell it well.
Yeah. And especially this movie. If you want to toe the line, then you need to explain these plot holes.
Right.
Because no adult's going to watch this with plot holes like that or without any kind of explanation of things. I think that kids would be, if this is geared toward boys would be as into it if you explained all that thing, had more action and had less goon and stith. At least in the way they're designed.
Use them more.
Use them more different, yes. And just had a little bit more action, been a little darker or just more action moments. You've already got moments like Akima in her bathrobe taking a shower or checking out Kale when he's naked.
I totally forgot that. Yeah.
The shower that dresses her as well.
Animated butt. Yeah, I forgot that.
Where's that probe going?
Jeez. I totally forgot that. So, I mean, I know I asked this, but I think I kind of know why we think this is forgotten, because it's just not very good.
See, I don't think it's not very good. I think it has a lot of problems. But when I was watching this, I was like, this isn't as bad as I remember when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, I remember watching this and going, it was all right. And just forgetting about it completely, as this is forgotten cinema. But when we're thinking about summer movies and we were putting these on the list, and obviously we like to have a family or kids movie every once a season.
Yeah. Well, we
try.
We don't have to.
Right. I remember the big push for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that being the thing I thought would be interesting to talk about, which turns out that's most of this podcast. But I think that there is a good movie in here, and it's probably to and obviously the directors, all the people working on it have the ability to put out a good film. And I think the fact that most of the budget went to I don't know. When we talk about the budget, I imagine that 30 million is still part of that, what they say the budget was for the film.
Oh,
right?
yeah. It's probably part of the I'm sure this wasn't slated to be a $75 million movie.
They just ended up being a 75 million. So
right.
money could have gone elsewhere. They could have had more time with it, like we talked about.
I think the biggest thing is the time issue.
Yeah. I think they could have made a good movie. It's unfortunate that it's not, but I think it is, like you said, it could be revisited. It's a great concept. Well, there are things about this movie that do work, but a lot of it, the pieces are stronger than I think the whole, for sure.
Well, this is a prime example of a movie where when people talk about remakes and reboots, I know they remake and reboot proven commodity IPs that are, this movie did well, so if we remake it, it will still do well. But the idea of remakes should be about fixing the stuff you got wrong.
Right.
And so Titan AE is a prime example of a movie that you didn't give it enough time. You didn't give the creators enough time. The technology and the advancements in animation have increased exponentially where you could do this story justice the way you wanted to do it. Why not go back and revisit it and do it the right way and give it to somebody that can do something with it, what you wanted to in the beginning?
Right.
I mean, there are so many outlets now. You could put this on, I mean, it's Fox now. You could put this on Disney Plus. I mean, go back and redo it the right way. That's what a remake should be. It shouldn't be, let's do something that was a huge box office success because, hey, it's going to be a huge box office success again. We can't do no wrong.
Right.
Don't do that. Do a movie that you got wrong in the beginning and remake it. So I would be completely okay with if they remade this or they remade this into a 6-part series or like, you know, whatever they wanted to do. It's the IP is good enough and the story is good enough where you can definitely go back and do something really, really well with it. Yeah,
for sure. I also think that the movies that were released around the time are going to kill it as well. All these different animated movies, Gone in 60 Seconds, that's what dudes want to watch.
Well, animation has gotten so much better from 20 years ago, and there's so many more outlets now with the streaming with the streaming wars that we're in right now, and just kids are what drive the box office, and they're definitely going to drive the box office after we return to some kind of normal after the pandemic, because they're going to want to go see movies. Kids always, that's why in the summer at the movie theater, that's what I was about to say when I was at the I know, I didn't. So that's why every summer at the movie theater, you know, every week is almost a new kids movie, or every month has a big kids movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's because the kids want to go to the theater because parents are looking for things to do with the kids. Oh, the new movie's out. Let's go there. Every weekend, the parents are always like, we got to find something to do with the kids. Trust me. I understand. I know this. I have 3 kids. So that's why I think there's definitely an opportunity for this type of film to be out there. And I think it could be done better. I just do. I think it you know, and it almost feels like it deserves another shot. You know what I mean? And again, I don't blame anyone in this movie, maybe except the studio, because you didn't give the people the necessary time to finish it.
I think they didn't really believe in Fox Animation Studio to begin with.
Probably not.
I think this movie was like their last hope. They saw stuff going wrong and they were just like, you know what? This is not what we want to do. I think they probably knew they were going to go to things like Blue Sky and stuff and have third parties make their films. Yeah. And I think that was always the writing on the wall here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you didn't absolutely hate this movie.
I don't absolutely hate films, Butler.
Oh, you absolutely hate some films. Look, you didn't not like this film. I'm glad that you saw some parts that worked in this film, because I honestly didn't remember much at all about this movie.
Right.
So I like that it wasn't a straight up just like we both went, ugh. Because I really came out. This is one of the films that I watched when I was really young and I didn't remember much about it.
So let's take a moment, I guess, this is the last episode of the Forgotten Summer series. But before we get into what I want to get into, how about we do some quick plugs? Let's not go crazy in terms of what we do. We know at the end, last episode every year, every season, we like to just kind of let you know, like, what we are doing personally. Yes. So go ahead, you go first, but let's keep it brief.
I've got 2 other podcasts I do for Forgotten Entertainment. I've got Two Player Bros and Crackin' One Open. Two Player Bros is about 2 guys who play way too many video games. Join me and my buddy Dave, sometimes my brother Alex, where we talk about all things video game related: PC, VR, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. We have it all. We play it all. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, or at ForgottenEntertainment.com. Crackin' One Open is a podcast with my fiance Elise, where we crack open a different craft beer every episode. We talk about the brewery, the history of the beer style, what's in the beer, and then we go over our tasting notes. So if you want to learn more about beer with us, join us on Crackin' One Open. That's available on ForgottenEntertainment.com or wherever you get your podcasts as well. And then please buy my books on Audible. Look up Michael Butler. I've got books: Sour, Coffee at Midnight, The Murder of Kelly Christopher, The Final Girl, Switch, Art, Fraud, and Gangsters. These books range from, British gangster books that I do accents for. Sour, I do Southern accents for. It's like an Evil Dead meets Southern fairy tale. And the other books are mostly all horror books. The Final Girl is like an 80s slasher movie come to life. It's all pretty cool. Check me out. Check out those books. I don't make money on those books unless you buy them. So please help me. Help me.
That's so Evil Dead with Southern fairy tale, is that like True Blood?
It's a little bit more Cabin in the Woodsy than True Blood.
Okay.
It's more like an evil witch unlike creatures and stuff like that.
Right. I have a book out. It's a novella, Paradox. It's on Amazon. You can get it at the Kindle store, or you can get it in paperback. I've also have a short film, No Parapo, which is in festivals right now, or a couple fests. I don't even know if I'm going to them yet, but that's about it. I'm gonna hype up Forgotten Entertainment. So we have a bunch of shows on Forgotten Entertainment right now, not just our shows, not just the 2 shows that Mike said, 2PB and Cracker One Open. We also have Bohemian Geek Studies, the Nomcast. Yet another DC animated podcast, yet another Star Wars podcast, and On the QT, which we did with our friends at Pina Comics.
That's going on now, actually.
They all are. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's going on right now, as you said. Nice job. But so check them out. That's on ForgottenEntertainment.com. They're obviously on all the podcast portals out there, so you can find them. It's not just us; it's a bunch of other people, and there's a lot of other good voice talent out there that we're working with. So I don't know.
Good people, nice people. Salt of the earth.
So now that we're done with the plugs, Butler, I wanted to, I guess, maybe have a little retrospective of what you thought of our Forgotten Summer season.
Ooh,
so I don't know, like if you have any thoughts.
I always like doing theme seasons. I think they're cool. I don't know if everybody else thinks. Like, I love doing the Forgotten. I love doing the Forgotten horror season. I like when we kind of find some Christmas stuff, although that's kind of hard. Like we say, if it's Forgotten and it's Christmas, usually it's because it's really bad.
Right.
But I do like these theme seasons. I liked this summer season because I think we picked out some movies that we probably wouldn't have done otherwise. Like Breakdown, Layer Cake, Virtuosity, Last Action Hero, Miami Vice, those ones. Even Open Range and Road to Perdition. It's like we made reasons why they're forgotten. And I think that a forgotten summer film is different than a normal forgotten film because
there's an expectation.
There's an expectation and a different reason that they were forgotten than I think a lot of the other films we do. But you also brought up interesting summer films that I think a lot of your selections were films that you noticed because you watch pretty much a bajillion films a year.
I do.
Like Croupier and stuff I would never have watched, even though I didn't like Croupier. I would never have watched or known about that movie if you didn't bring it up.
Nice.
Because it was just hidden in the summer. So I think that's really cool as well.
Maybe though you're completely wrong about how it's not good.
I'm not completely wrong.
You are wrong. You are absolutely wrong. I don't know if we'd go back to doing Forgotten Summer because it was kind of a stretch to get those, like in terms of it being a theme season. That might be a one and done theme season. I'm not sure.
We have a couple more from our list that were Forgotten Summer. But yeah, I don't know if we can do a whole.
I can see us doing Forgotten Summer for a month.
Yeah, a July one. Yeah, I don't think we can find
like
13 more FSs.
Much like our season 10 upcoming, which we are going to be, that is the last 4 of season 10 are going to be a Forgotten Horror. I was going to kind of give you some titles that we're doing next season, but I might as well. So
tease them out.
What?
Tease them out.
So we're going to be doing some, just to give you a couple movies that we're doing in the upcoming 13 weeks for season 10. We're going to do Scotland, PA. I don't know why we're doing U.S. Marshals, but we're doing that.
Because it's good and you don't like it?
We're actually doing, this is the first time, even though The Last Seduction was on HBO initially, and then it was in theaters. We're actually going to be doing a movie in season 10 that never came out in theaters. I'm pretty sure it's just an HBO movie, which is Citizen X, which is about a serial killer in Russia, which I really like that movie. So I'm interested if Butler likes that. But we're also obviously going to be doing Forgotten Horror. I'll give you 2 of those titles just so you can get a little tease there. We're doing 30 Days of Night and Let's Scare Jessica to Death. So, we're going to kind of do a couple of these things, and all those podcasters that heard us, don't you copy? I'm just kidding. It's fine. I'm just kidding. But next week, we're going to kick off season 10. We're going to the 80s, 1987.
Woo, that's when I was born.
To watch a movie starring Michael J. Fox.
He's got my first name.
And it's not Back to the Future. It's The Secret of My Success. That is next week. Forgotten Cinema season 10 starts with The Secret of My Success. And that's all I got. So until then, I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Summer. The end.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. I don't know.
You don't know. Do you want me to do it again so you can do it again?
No, I got nothing. Oh, no, do it again. Hold on. Yeah, do it again. Okay. I got another one.
So until then, I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema, Forgotten Summer.
I'm going to jump in your pool right now.
It's closed.
I'm jumping in your pool.
It's closed.
Open it.
It's disgusting.
Pool party?